The video began with a flicker. The grainy glow of a handheld camera fighting against a harsh fluorescent light. It was filmed inside the Beijing Municipal Funeral Home, of the oldest state-run crematoriums in the capital. The walls were a dull yellow, streaked with age and shadow. The ceiling lamps buzzing faintly. The faint echo of footsteps gave away the emptiness of the room. But the lens betrayed something far more disturbing than an ordinary cremation procedure. Menglong's body lay on a gurney draped with a pale cloth. For a moment, it seemed like nothing more than a sorrowful, clinical ritual. But then the camera tilted, and the cloth slipped. Gasps could be heard from the person filming. His face, swollen, bruised, lips tinted blue, was captured in shocking clarity. His wrists bore dark marks, circular and raw, as if ropes or cuffs had bitten deep into his skin. Around his ankles, similar indentations told the same story: restrained, not freedom. Two funeral workers stood by the gurney, their expressions strained, almost fearful. They glanced at the camera more than once, their hands fumbling nervously with the cloth as though they wanted to cover the body again, to erase what the lens had revealed. One man reached for the cloth hastily when the camera lingered too long on Menglong's torso. For beneath his chest, a long jagged cut ran downward, a wound never once mentioned in any official report. And then there was the third figure. A man in a black suit stood at the far corner of the room, half in shadow. His arms were folded, his eyes sharp and unblinking. Though the clip never focused directly on him, his presence was unmistakable. Witnesses later claimed he was Menglong's former manager, the same man rumored to have controlled every aspect of his life in his final years. In the video, he does not move to cover the body, nor does he attempt to interfere. He only watches, silently, with an expression too cold to be grief. The oddities piled up with each second of the footage. The back door of the cremation room, normally locked and guarded, was ajar. No security staff stood in their usual positions. Instead, the room seemed deliberately cleared, with only these three individuals and the person behind the camera. From off-screen, a hushed whisper leaked into the recording. "No one must know," the words, faint but chilling, spread like wildfire once fans replayed and enhanced the audio. When the clip first appeared online, many thought it was fake. But soon, journalists compared details in the room: the funeral home's distinct wall tiles, the unique metal gurney handles, the markings on the door frame, and confirmed it could only have been filmed inside Beijing Municipal Funeral Home. Officials were forced to admit the location was authentic, though they refused to comment on the content of the video itself. What shocked the public even more was who was not there. Normally, family members are allowed a brief moment of farewell before cremation. Yet in this footage, no relatives were present. According to eyewitnesses outside the hall, Menglong's parents had been barred from entering, told to wait until the procedure was complete. Xingfei, pale and trembling, had been pushed back by two bodyguards when she tried to approach. Fainted soon after, carried away by paramedics. The absence of his loved ones in those final moments was not only cruel, it was suspicious. Online, the reactions were explosive. Fans wept as they dissected every frame of the clip, pointing to bruises on Menglong's shoulders, near his jaw, the way one of his eyes seemed darkened as if struck. Some slowed the video to capture the exact moment the funeral worker yanked the cloth back up, interpreting it as an attempt to hide the truth. Others debated the identity of the shadowy man in black. Was he truly the manager? If so, why was he there? And why was he allowed so close to the body? Hashtags surged to the top of every platform: "Justice for Menglong," "Cremation clip," "Truth exposed." International outlets labeled it the most disturbing celebrity leak of the decade. Commentators called it unprecedented. Never before had a cremation clip revealed so many inconsistencies with an official narrative. The authorities scrambled to respond. Their silence only deepened the outrage. Each unanswered question became fuel for new theories. Who had filmed the clip? Why was security absent? Why did Menglong's body show injuries unrecorded in the death report? And perhaps most haunting of all, why was his family deliberately kept away from him in his final farewell? As the video spread, one truth became impossible to ignore: the official story of Menglong's death was collapsing. The world had seen too much. Images burned themselves into collective memory. Time the police chief, Zhang Wei, prepared to step forward with an official statement. The nation was already bracing itself. The clip had revealed more than injuries. It revealed a system of silence, and the terrifying possibility that Menglong's death was not the tragedy of a man, the crime of an industry. And as the hall in Beijing filled once again with journalists, families, and furious fans, one sentence whispered online echoed louder than any headline: if the video is real, then the truth they tried to bury is already burning its way out. When Zhang Wei walked to the podium that morning, the atmosphere in Beijing was electric with fear and fury. The horrifying clip of Yu Menglong's body had been viewed millions of times across the world, dissected frame by frame. Every bruise, every whisper, every shadow in the footage had become ammunition for outrage. The crowd outside the press hall surged like a living tide, chanting his name, their voices breaking with grief. Justice for Menglong. Truth for Menglong. Inside, reporters clutched their pens so tightly their knuckles turned white. One was waiting for the police chief to explain the unexplainable. Zhang Wei placed the now famous folder onto the podium, its thick spine heavy with documents, photographs, and transcripts. His uniform was immaculate, but his eyes betrayed the storm beneath. Scanned the room, pausing deliberately before he began. "We have all seen the footage," he said, his voice carrying with the weight of a verdict. "We state this clearly, the video is authentic. It was filmed inside the Beijing Municipal Funeral Home on the day of Yu Menglong's cremation. There is no fabrication, no editing. You saw is real." Gasps spread across the hall. Some journalists had speculated that the government would dismiss the footage as a hoax. But Zhang Wei had done the opposite. He had validated every horrifying frame. He continued. "The injuries visible on his body, those bruises, marks, were never recorded in the official death report. That omission was deliberate. His wrists and ankles show clear evidence of restraint. Chest bears a long, unexplained wound inconsistent with medical procedures. His swollen face and lips indicate asphyxiation. These findings contradict every claim that his death was self-inflicted. Yu Menglong did not commit suicide. He was murdered." The room erupted, cameras flashing like lightning, reporters shouting questions. Zhang Wei held up his hand for silence. His tone deepened, each word cutting sharper. And that man seen in the video, the one in the black suit, was indeed his manager. He had no authorization to be in that room. Stood over Menglong's body in the moments before cremation, watching in silence. His presence alone is evidence of collusion. He is now under criminal investigation. The weight of those words shook the nation. The manager, once a powerful figure in the entertainment world, officially accused of standing at the center of Menglong's destruction. Zhang Wei turned another page in the folder and displayed a financial chart on the screen behind him. The numbers glowed red under the projector. "There's another truth," he said. "One that the video hinted at, but documents confirm. In the 48 hours following his death, Yu Menglong's wealth, his bank accounts, real estate holdings, and intellectual property rights, were transferred away. Nearly all of it. Millions vanished. This was not coincidence. This was theft. Carried out with precision. While his family was kept away. While his body was being burned." A hush swept the room, more terrifying than any uproar. The fans outside began to scream louder, their chants morphing into cries of rage. Journalists whispered frantically. Headlines forming in real time: "Murdered and robbed. Entertainment's darkest crime. A fortune burned away with the body." Zhang Wei's voice thundered over the noise. The transfers, offshore accounts, shell companies, signatures forged under coercion. So-called guardians, his management, were not protectors, they were predators. They profited from his exhaustion. They pushed his body beyond its limits. When he resisted, they silenced him. Then they stripped his legacy clean before his ashes had even cooled. At the front row, Zimfei collapsed into tears, her sobs raw, her face buried in her hands. The representative of Menglong rose to shout through sobs, "You murdered him twice. Once in life, once in death." The hall trembled with emotion. Security stepping in to calm the chaos. But the truth could no longer be contained. Zhang Wei steadied himself, eyes burning. This case is not only about Yu Menglong. It is about the darkness that festers in an industry where human beings are treated as commodities, where contracts are cages, where silence is bought and truth is buried. He was not the first. If we do not act, he will not be the last. The words hit like hammers. Fans outside roared in agreement. waving banners that read, "He was not a product and stop exploitation," on social media. Hashtags exploded, "Justice for Menglong, murder and robbery. Dark secrets exposed." Within hours, video of Zhang Wei's speech was translated into a dozen languages, broadcast worldwide. But his final words were the ones that etched themselves into history. Flames of the cremation consumed his body. They thought it would consume the truth as well. But the truth is here. Will not be silenced. Yu Menglong has been vindicated. His honor restored. And those who destroyed him will face justice. Zhang Wei stepped away from the podium. The hall erupted into chaos, reporters shouting, fans sobbing, family members crying out for answers. But outside, beneath the gray Beijing sky, the chants of the people grew louder, fiercer, unstoppable. The horrifying clip had been more than a leak. It was the last testimony of a man who could no longer speak. It revealed not only his unseen injuries, but the unseen corruption that thrived around him. Though his body had turned to ashes, his truth burned brighter than ever, lighting the path toward justice.